Tonight, we have a huge Game 5 from here, Toronto. Golden State keep the series alive, or will the Toronto first NBA title? Warriors, Raptors, it all starts with NBA Countdown at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Look at Kawhi Leonard, braids look sharp. I don't know what to say. I don't know what right now. What we've been seeing, watching this man warm up, I'll leave to my next guest to explain to you. Does an exceptional job covering the sport of the NBA for the worldwide leader, the one and only Brian Windhorst is standing next to me as we speak. Wendy, what did you see watching Kawhi Leonard warm up behind us over the last 20 minutes?
It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. He had 30 straight shots against Jamal McGlure, one of their assistant coaches, who, by the way, is 7 foot tall. Got so tired, poor Jamal, to sit down. He was so tired. Guy's showing no signs. Of course, what do you expect? He just nailed another one. He's showing no signs of concern whatsoever. You know, Stephen A., 2014, he put the Miami Heat down, killed that super team with the Finals MVP performance.
Yep.
Tonight, he has another good game. He's going to win MVP again. He's going to put down another super team. What a thing to have on your resume, and he's not sweating at all about this. He's cool as a cucumber.
Well, he's cool. I don't know how the rest of the Toronto Raptors are going to feel. We'll see about that, obviously, once Game 5 starts tonight. Brian Windhorst was here with yours truly, this NBA Final Sports Center special. Wendy, when you've watched and listened to the Golden State Warriors over the last couple of days, reporting on them, what kind of impression have you got now that we know Kevin Durant will likely play tonight?
Well, they are such a confident team. It's something that they've never had a problem with. So I'm not surprised that they're confident. What I'm surprised about is Steve Kerr saying that Kevin Durant does not have a minutes restriction tonight. I was surprised to hear that. The man has not played in 4 weeks. And he is either really doing something special behind the scenes that we are not seeing, or he doesn't think he's going to play that many minutes. And he doesn't have to worry about minute restrictions anyway.
Or Kevin Durant said, to hell with a minute restriction. I don't want to hear it. It's my career. I'm going to do what I need to do.
Maybe. And I think I was trying to talk with Michael Wilbon about this earlier. We're searching history. We don't ever remember a finals adding a player like this. There's been other finals where a guy's gotten hurt. Of course, Magic Johnson pulling his hamstring in the middle of the finals, losing, in that finals. We don't ever remember when there was an MVP that came back into a finals. Historic potential moment here in this series. I have no idea what Durant's going to be able to give him tonight. It's a real mystery.
Before I ask my next question, Steve Kerr, head coach for the Golden State Warriors, spoke just a few minutes ago on the status of Kevin Durant. Listen up.
He responded well, and yeah, he's going to play.
Is this a situation, Coach? Is this a situation where kind of desperate times call for desperate measures? Because in Game 3, you kind of held out Clay because you said it was a long series, and now your backs are really against the wall. If it was a situation similar to Game 3, would he play tonight with the way he's feeling right now?
We're really going to go into it that deeply. He can play now. He's been cleared, so he's going to play.
Brian, back right.
Brian Mahoney, Associated Press. Steve, when Cleveland came back on you guys in that series, obviously there were some big personnel changes. You lost Draymond the game, then you lost Bogut. Does it take something like that beyond just X's and O's to change a series? And is maybe having Kevin in your mind possibly it?
I haven't researched every 3-1 deficit, but generally speaking, when you get to the finals or the conference finals, you get two great teams, and so if a team can get a win when it's 3-1 and make it 3-2, they got some momentum. So that's the idea. That's the whole idea tonight is play better than we've been playing, and get some momentum early, win one game, and then the tenor of the series changes, and so that's our goal.
Michael over here, third row.
Steve, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. No one knows better what KD brings at his best, but even at I guess maybe a bit of a stripped down model, what does he do for your team? What could he do for Clay and Steph?
Well, even without having played, he's still such a huge threat, and he can get a shot off against anybody, and we'll see. You know, I don't want to put too much of a burden on him. It's been a while. We don't know how it's going to go, how it's going to look, but just his mere presence makes a huge difference for us. And so we'll start him and play him in short bursts and see how he responds, physically. See if his wind is okay, and as the game goes, we'll try to figure it out from there.
Left side on the aisle over here.
Tom Oldfield, Sports Beat. Steve, when you look at your bench,
That was Steve Kerr, head coach of the Golden State Warriors, speaking to the media just a few minutes ago. Wendy, I think it's ridiculous. Nick Nurse out coaching Steve Kerr, but clearly being down 3-1, there are things that people think Steve Kerr could have done differently. I don't know what they would be. What about you? What are you hearing on that angle?
Well, Nick Nurse has Kawhi Leonard, and when Kawhi's been in the game, they've been about 20 points better when Kawhi's been out of the game. So I guess what Nick Nurse has done is he's had his best player, and he's played him a lot of minutes. Steve Kerr hasn't had his best player. He hasn't been able to play him. So that's been difficult. I do think Nick Nurse has been willing to throw some things out, like the box and one. He's able to do that because the Warriors have been dinged up. What I will say is this. We all know that teams that are up 30 are up 3-1 in the series. But that does not take into account the 2-2, 1-1-1 scenario that we have. Since that change has been made, it changes everything. If this was the old way, Game 5 would be in Golden State. Now if Golden State can get this win, as Steve Kerr just mentioned there, it transfers momentum back to Oracle. And in this case, it's compounded because it'd be the last game at Oracle.
Stay right here. Don't move. We've been having some technical difficulties. We're going to get that result. Come back to the one and only Brian Windhorst. Don't touch that dial. Sports Center special from the NBA Finals in a minute. We see Steph Curry on the court right now, dribbling the basketball court. Dribbling the basketball, I'm sorry. We don't care much about how he dribbles, even though it matters. We care about his shot and whether or not it's going to fall in Game 5, because it will need to, Brian Windhorst, in order for them to win this game and push this series to a Game 6 back at the Oracle. Your expectations for Steph tonight?
Okay, my thing is, Steph and Klay have not gotten more than 60 points in any game this series. Now, granted, Klay missed the half of the one game with injury, and he missed one as well. They've got to get over 60 points, the two of them together tonight. They only had 55 in game 4.
Even with Kevin Durant, you feel that way?
And I say even if you had Durant, you got to get 70. You get 70 points out of those three guys tonight, because let's be honest, their role players are not delivering. Now, if Quinn Cook goes out there and hits a couple of threes, I'm going to change my mind. But in an elimination game with Durant out there, you got to get 60 from the Splash Brothers, and whatever Durant gives you, if he can give you 10, if he can give you 15, it makes a big difference to me. He's got to get some points.
Any fear in your mind at all that Toronto might get tight because of the moment, because they're on the cusp of making history and winning their first ever championship? I'm not worried about Kawhi, but anybody else you might be worried about?
Every year I've come here for the Raptors playoffs, I've seen this team get tight. All I've done is seen this team choke, to be quite frank with you. In Game 1s, in vital games they had to win, but that was those years. This year, it's been a completely different team. They call the core 4. You got Kawhi, Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, and Marcus Gasol, and I'm going to add Serge Ibaka. But those 4 guys have kept this team calm. I don't know if they're going to play their best, but I do not expect them to choke.
The number one X factor in this game, no matter which side of the coin you choose, the number one X factor is who?
Kevin Durant. It's a Hall of Famer that they bring off the bench. Does he change the series? If he changes the series, Stephen A., we could end up having one of the best finals we've ever seen, or we could see this end tonight and it'll always be a what-if.
Great job as always.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy the game, everyone.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to enjoying the game. That's Marcus Gasol out there, warming up, getting ready. He's had a good couple of last games. Game 3, Game 4. He certainly has outplayed DeMarcus Cousins. Certainly has outplayed anybody that you put on the floor against him. Serge Ibaka has been that guy as well. 6 blocks in Game 3, 20 points in Game 4. That's what I'm thinking about. Michael Wilbon, PTI fame, my partner in crime. He joins me right now. Tonight, Kevin Durant is returning, Michael Wilbon. How do you feel about that?
Stephen, for 4 games, only 2 have been played. This series has more intrigue than you can imagine. And a lot of it revolves around Kevin Durant, who hadn't even played. And I've been talking to every single former player, some of them Hall of Famers, I know you have been too. And nobody knows what to really think. I mean, everybody has said, I got a lot of people say, give me 30 seconds of watching Kevin Durant. Without that, how do you know what to think? I'm going to tell you this, and I'm maybe one of the few voices. I want to see Kevin Durant play. I don't know how great he can be. Maybe he doesn't have to be great for them to win this game, to sort of be rejuvenated. Maybe it's a Willis Reed-like 8 or 10 points, and maybe that can do it for them. But, Steven, I think professional sports at the championship level are too difficult to simply walk out of a locker room after missing a month and be great. I don't see that, or I shouldn't say I don't see it. I gotta see it. It's gotta be proven to me that you can miss a month and come out and be the person that he says, you know who I am, I'm KD.
You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Can he be that guy? It just seems too difficult
Kevin
to me.
Durant, and I've said this on many occasions, Kevin Durant, it could be announced that Kevin Durant has to miss the entire 2019-2020 season, and you'll still have 25 teams lined up to give him the max, even though he wouldn't be available for the entire next season. So if you're Kevin Durant with the future to look forward to, a reigning two-time champion, reigning two-time NBA Finals MVP, what does it say about him in your mind that he's willing to come back out tonight for Game 5 to play in this game?
It says no more or no less than it says about all great athletes. They do this to play. Even more than the money, and God knows it's great, it's the vast fortunes now. This is what they do. And he's trained all his life to do this, to be on this kind of stage and to be great. That's what it says. I don't know that it says any more than it would have said about, I mentioned Willis Reed. How many years ago, Mr. New York Knick? 30 to 40 years ago? More than that. Almost 50 years ago. Okay, so it says the same thing. Anytime you see greatness, it comes from a place that produces want to, desire to play and to excel. And so that's what I'm not surprised Kevin Durant wants to get back out here. I don't think free agency has anything to do with it. He wants to win. He wants to get this thing back to Oakland on Thursday and get it back here on Sunday.
Willis Reed was about 46 years ago, just to answer that question. Steph Curry's right there on the court right now. 27.8 points per game career when facing elimination. Those are not shabby numbers, but he's had better numbers. Mike Wilbon, how do you expect Steph Curry and Klay Thompson to play in light of the fact that they'll have Kevin Durant just on the court with them today?
I mean, I expect all of them to give as great an effort as we've ever seen. As great an effort. But I'm mindful of things I've heard from a guy like Eddie Johnson, who played 19 years in this league, who looked at them. Kendrick Perkins did this with both of us. They look at those guys and they say, you know what, sometimes you're too beat up physically to do what it is that your mind tells you to do, to do what we've all seen them do. And so we know the effort is going to be there from Klay, from Kevin Durant, and from Steph Curry. Are they physically up to this? Steven, there's a reason that nobody has won 4 championships in 5 years in this league since the merger. It's physically exacting. Well, they have suffered that we've seen during this playoff series. Not the Portland series, they couldn't push them like that. Not the Houston series, they couldn't push them like that, even though we thought they could. We're looking at a team that, let's find out if Kevin can give them what they need to sort of get over that hump, to win one game to move this back to Oakland. I don't think that's as automatic as a lot of people around this court tonight seem to think it is.
I don't think it is either, but I'm not going to bet my money against a champion
no, I'm not betting
that's
against
getting their best player back. But let me ask you this, Mike Wilbon. How do you stop Kawhi Leonard if you're Steve Kerr at this point? He's averaging 30.
Nobody stopped him. Who stopped him? Nobody stopped him.
I'm saying, how do you do it?
You don't. And so you make it as difficult for him as you can, and you can stop some of these other guys. I mean, you can't let Fred VanVleet go off, right, and hit 9 of 12 three-pointers.
Can't have Serge Ibaka scoring 20 off the bench.
Can't have Serge Ibaka doing that. So there's a lot you can do. Look, you got to still make it. Maybe you can keep Kawhi Leonard to, well, I was going to say 40%. That's a tall order.
Right. By the way, just as an aside, Windhorse and I was sitting there watching. Kawhi Leonard hit 30 straight jump shots.
I watched
straight. 30.
So nobody's stopping him, Steven. Now, he may have a more difficult night than he's had other times. We haven't seen that yet. We were waiting for Milwaukee to do it. They couldn't do it. And now we know that Golden State is a better team, better defensively. They can make it more difficult. Do I expect them to stop Kawhi Leonard tonight? No chance.
Mark Jackson brought this up, and I brought it up as well in fairness to him. Pascal Siakam drops 32 points in Game 1. Draymond basically says, oh, that ain't happening again. He didn't say that about Kawhi Leonard. Okay, is it time that Draymond embraces that defensive challenge as somebody that's a former defensive player of the year that wants to be recognized as the greatest defensive player in basketball? Is it time that Draymond steps up and embraces the challenge of trying to defend Kawhi Leonard, or do you keep him off of Kawhi because you're fearful of foul trouble?
You can't be fearful of foul trouble. I'm going to go back to, you talk about great teams now, right?
Yes.
Any conversation about Golden State, you got to involve great Celtics, great Lakers, great Bulls, San Antonio.
Yes.
You were around for this. Did anybody have to convince Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan to guard James Worthy and Magic Johnson?
Never.
So what are we talking about?
Nobody had to convince Joe Dumars to try to defend Michael Jordan. When he wasn't the man.
Did you convince Isaiah and Joe Dumars to go after the best players every night? No, you didn't. So that wouldn't even be a discussion. That shouldn't even be a discussion. You put the best player you can on the person you need to shut off. Unless you decide, if it's a strategy, to let Kawhi Leonard go off and stop everybody else, Steve Kerr knows what he wants to try to attempt. But to me, Draymond Green has to be tonight on the player that they need to devote the most attention to stopping, and that would be Kawhi Leonard.
We've watched Kevin Durant for many, many years. Watched him play this game at a very elite level. He's a reigning two-time champion. That look in his eyes and his face right now, what do you see? I see comfort. I see somebody that's very relaxed. I see somebody that doesn't seem to be worried. Focused, yes, but not worried. What do you see, Wilbon?
I'm not a body language look in the eye guy.
I have. I pulled that off a couple of times. I pulled it off, Michael Wilbon.
You know what I want to see?
Right.
When the ball is tipped off. That's what I want to see. I can't. Body language and sort of reading it and trying to figure. I don't want to figure out anything. Tonight, I don't even need to talk to any of these guys. Tonight is a result-driven affair. That's all I care about tonight. I don't know what he's going to do. That's another guy. But we haven't talked about Andre Iguodala.
He was my next target.
X factors.
Him and Draymond. I think it's important that they're a threat offensively in order to win this game as well. To that you say what?
Yes, I agree. And especially Andre, that three-point game is not going to get it. We saw him, look, in the critical games, particularly without KD, Andre was huge. Now, a couple of times he was hitting a timely basket here and there. There wasn't volume. But they're going to need all of them tonight. They're going to need the entire ensemble, the championship ensemble of the Golden State Warriors to get out of here and get this thing back to Golden State.
I only got 1 minute left. I believe the winner of this game, obviously if Toronto wins the series is over. But I believe if the Warriors win this game, the Warriors could win this series.
Yeah, I do too. I think Toronto may walk out of here tonight with a crown. I mean, they sometimes, Stephen, you get a glimpse of a series and you go, okay, both teams now know who the best team is. They can say what they want. Man, Toronto they look good. They look ready for the moment to me. And I am not about to bet against the Warriors and bet against champs. Champs have to be knocked out. And that's one thing. If Toronto's not ready to do that, if they're not ready to put their foot on them tonight, this thing will be going back Thursday and they'll regret it.
But that is what I love about the fact that KD is returning tonight, because I think if you're KD, you truly, truly believe you're the lone difference maker. You will make the difference in this series, and you're coming back to claim that. I like that, Mike Wilbon.
It's a wonderful storyline. Let's see if it happens.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is a wonderful storyline, especially if this is his last game as a Golden State Warrior.
Well, we could have a couple of last games out here. We don't know what Kawhi Leonard's going to do. We don't know what Kevin Durant's going to do. And again, it adds, I mean, for a series that we've only seen 4 games of, I don't know how you could have more drama attached to what we've got so far.
Mike Wilbon, appreciate you as well, my man.
Sir.
We'll be watching the game together. It's not like I'm not going to see you in the next few minutes. That's all the time we have. Check out Game 5. Warriors Raptors at 8:30 p.m. on ABC. If Golden State extends this series, I'll be back here 7 p.m. Eastern from Oakland on Thursday night for Game 6, and I can't wait. I'm going with the Warriors tonight. I'm doing it, Mike Wilbon. I'm going down with this ship. I'm in Toronto. I got Raptors fans all around me. They think I'm scared. I'm not scared, damn it. I'm not scared. I'm picking the Warriors to survive, to extend this series, and to take it back to Oakland. Mike Wilbon didn't want to do that, but I'm doing it. I'll talk to y'all later. Enjoy the game.